Welcome to part 4 of our FAANG interview series, where we dive deep into the Google interview process for 2026. If you've been following along, you know we've already tackled Netflix and Meta. Today, we focus on Google, the company that invented the modern tech interview. Whether you're a new grad, an experienced engineer, or simply curious about how Google sets the gold standard for software engineering interviews, this guide will walk you through every step. We'll explore what makes Google's process unique, how to prepare, and what to expect at each stage. Let's get started and demystify the Google interview loop together. Emily, the author of this guide, shares her first-hand experience with Google interviews. She recalls freezing on a dynamic programming question within the first 10 minutes, struggling to understand hints from the interviewer, and ultimately failing so badly that the recruiter stopped replying. But this setback became a turning point. Emily learned from her mistakes and eventually figured out how to navigate Google's rigorous process. The story sets the stage for understanding why Google interviews are so challenging and why preparation is key. It's a reminder that even the best candidates can stumble and that perseverance pays off. 2026, Google's interview loop remains the gold standard for software engineering. Unlike Meta, which is moving toward AI-driven rounds, Google sticks to a rigorous, deeply algorithmic evaluation process. The process is slow, unpredictable, and designed to filter out 99% of applicants. Understanding this landscape is crucial for anyone aiming to crack Google. The company invented this game, and their standards are unmatched. As we break down the rounds, keep in mind that Google's approach is fundamentally different from other FAANG companies. Before diving into the interview rounds, it's important to understand the structural differences between Google and other FAANG companies. At Meta or Netflix, you interview for a specific team, and if you pass, you get an offer. At Google, you interview for the company as a whole. If you perform well, the hiring committee grades you as a hire or strong hire, but you still don't have a job. You enter the team matching phase, where engineering managers decide if they want you on their team. If no manager picks you after a few months, your approval expires. Passing the technical bar is just the beginning. You also need to win a popularity contest. Google interview loop consists of several stages, each designed to test different skills. You'll face an online assessment, a technical phone screen, an on-site loop with coding and system design rounds, and a behavioral interview focused on Googleyness. Each stage has its own challenges and expectations. Understanding the structure of the loop helps you prepare strategically and avoid surprises. Let's break down each round in detail so you know exactly what to expect and how to approach them. The online assessment, also known as the snapshot, is usually reserved for new grads, interns, or junior engineers. It's a timed test with 2 algorithmic problems focusing purely on speed and accuracy. The platform evaluates your code against hidden test cases, and if you don't pass all of them, your application is typically discarded. This stage is a filter for basic coding skills and quick problem solving. It's essential to practice timed coding challenges and ensure you can handle pressure. Passing this round is your ticket to the next stage. Technical phone screen lasts 45-60 minutes and is conducted via video call with a Google engineer. You'll be sent a link to shared Google Doc or CoderPad, no IDE, syntax highlighting, or auto-completion. You have 45 minutes to solve 1 or 2 coding problems, usually medium-level questions focusing on core data structures like trees, graphs, strings, or hash maps. Google is grading your thought process, not just your code. You must communicate every assumption, state space, and time complexity before coding, and actively talk through your debugging process. Silent coding is a red flag. You pass the phone screen, you move to the Onsite Loop, which can be virtual or physical. This loop consists of 4-5 rounds, each lasting 45 minutes. You'll face coding interviews, a system design round, and the infamous Googleyness behavioral interview. The Onsite Loop is where Google's standards really shine. Coding rounds are tougher than Meta, and system design questions require deep understanding of distributed systems. The behavioral round tests your fit with Google's culture. Let's explore each component in detail. Google's coding interviews are notoriously harder than Meta's. While Meta prefers sliding window and 2 pointers, Google interviewers love dynamic programming, complex graph traversals like Dijkstra's and asterisk, and recursion. You'll get 45 minutes to solve a problem that often requires LeetCode hard-level understanding. Google doesn't just want the right answer, they want the most optimized answer possible. If you can't find the optimal solution immediately, write the brute force solution fast. Getting a working, suboptimal solution on the board gives you time to optimize with the interviewer's help. Blank screens get rejected. Key pro tip for Google coding interviews: if you can't find the optimal solution right away, write the brute force solution quickly. A working, suboptimal ON2 solution in the first 15 minutes gives you a baseline and 30 more minutes to optimize it to O(n log n) with the interviewer's guidance. Blank screens are rejected, but brute force solutions show your problem-solving approach and give you a chance to improve. This strategy can make the difference between passing and failing the coding round. You're interviewing for L4 mid-level or above, you'll face a system design round. Google evaluates system design differently than other companies. They want to see if you understand the underlying concepts that power Google's infrastructure. You need to know how distributed systems work at a massive, global scale. Expect questions about designing systems like YouTube's recommendation engine, Google Docs collaborative editing, or a distributed web crawler. Be ready to discuss MapReduce, distributed databases, database sharding, consistency models, and consensus algorithms. Defend your trade-offs ruthlessly. Google's system design round requires familiarity with several core concepts. You should understand MapReduce, distributed databases like Spanner and Bigtable, database sharding, consistency models, and consensus algorithms such as Paxos or Raft. If you choose a NoSQL database, be prepared to explain how you'll handle eventual consistency for millions of concurrent users. Google expects you to defend your architectural choices and discuss trade-offs in detail. Reading Google's original white papers can give you a massive edge. Behavioral interview, known as the Googleyness round, is a 45-minute session dedicated purely to behavioral questions. Don't underestimate this round. You can write perfect code, but if you fail Googleyness, the hiring committee will reject you. Googleyness is built on 4 pillars: thriving in ambiguity, valuing feedback, challenging the status quo, and doing the right thing. Use the style framework, situation, task, action, result, learnings for every answer. Interviewers will grill you on the details, so be ready to defend your stories. Google's behavioral interview focuses on 4 pillars: thriving in ambiguity, valuing feedback, challenging the status quo, and doing the right thing. Interviewers want to know if you can execute when requirements are vague, possess intellectual humility, take initiative to fix broken systems, and put the user above short-term business goals. Prepare versatile stories from your career that map to these pillars. Highlight your technical leadership, even if you're an individual contributor. Every behavioral question, use the style framework: situation, task, action, result, and learnings. Google interviewers will ask for specifics. If you claim you convinced a manager to change a timeline, they'll want to know exactly what date you presented and what the manager's counterargument was. Prepare detailed stories and practice articulating your experiences clearly. This structured approach helps you demonstrate your fit for Google's culture and values. After passing the technical and behavioral rounds, you enter the team matching phase. Your profile is circulated to hiring managers across Google. If a manager has headcount and thinks you're a fit, they'll schedule a fit call. These are informal, 30-minute chats about the project, tech stack, and management style. This phase can take anywhere from 2 weeks to 6 months. With headcount tighter than ever in 2026, finding a match is stressful and requires patience. Treat fit calls like two-way interviews. Ask highly specific questions about the team's roadmap, on-call rotation, and how they measure success for the role. Managers want engineers who are genuinely excited about their specific problem space, not just someone desperate for a Google badge. Show your interest and curiosity, and use these calls to assess whether the team is a good fit for you as well. Team matching phase can be incredibly stressful, especially with headcount tighter than ever. It's not uncommon to wait months for a match. Stay proactive by preparing for fit calls, researching teams, and keeping your skills sharp. Remember, patience is key. The process tests your endurance as much as your technical abilities. Don't lose hope. Many candidates eventually find their perfect team. We need at least 2 to 3 months of focused preparation for Google interviews. Don't just memorize answers. Google interviewers are known to tweak standard LeetCode problems, breaking the usual solution. Focus heavily on dynamic programming and graph theory. Practice coding under timed conditions and ensure you can handle unexpected twists. Consistent, targeted preparation is the foundation for success. Don't just memorize answers. Google interviewers often tweak standard LeetCode problems, so you need to understand the underlying concepts. Focus on dynamic programming and graph theory. Practice coding under timed conditions and make sure you can adapt to new constraints. Use platforms like NeetCode and ByteByteGo to learn different system design patterns and find actual interview questions. Smart practice beats rote memorization. Read Google's white papers seriously. Study the original papers on Spanner, MapReduce, Bigtable, and Borg. You don't need a PhD to understand them, but grasping the philosophy behind Google's distributed systems gives you a massive edge in the system design round. Understanding how Google builds infrastructure at scale helps you answer design questions with authority and confidence. Pile a list of 6 to 8 versatile stories from your career. Map them to the 4 pillars of Googleyness. Make sure you highlight your technical leadership, even if you're an individual contributor. Practice articulating your stories using the style framework. Google interviewers will probe for details, so be ready to defend your actions and decisions. Strong behavioral stories can set you apart from other candidates. Don't rely on cheating coding softwares like Cluely or Final Round AI. Google teams can spot when you're copying from somewhere and you'll get rejected. Instead, practice perfectly before the interview. Use recorders or AI interviewers to simulate real interview conditions. Authentic preparation is the only way to succeed. Practice your behavioral questions as hard as your coding questions. System design patterns use platforms like NeetCode and Byte.Go. To find actual interview questions, check out PracHub. Practice your behavioral questions as rigorously as your coding questions. Use recorders or AI interviewers to simulate the interview environment. The right tools and resources can make your preparation more effective and targeted. Google's interview process is a marathon, not a sprint. It's designed to be exhausting, and the team matching phase tests your patience long after the technical rounds end. Respect the process, learn the core algorithmic patterns, and prepare your behavioral stories. With the right mindset and preparation, Google's interview loop is entirely beatable. Stay focused and persistent. Mastering core algorithmic patterns is essential for Google interviews. Focus on dynamic programming, graph theory, recursion, and optimization techniques. Practice solving problems under timed conditions and adapt to new constraints. Understanding these patterns helps you tackle even the toughest coding questions and impress your interviewers. Even if you're an individual contributor, highlight your technical leadership in behavioral stories. Show how you took initiative, solved complex problems, and influenced outcomes. Google values candidates who can lead, challenge the status quo, and drive positive change. Prepare stories that demonstrate these qualities and map them to Googleyness pillars. Google interviewers want to see if you can thrive in ambiguity. Prepare stories where you executed successfully despite vague requirements. Show how you clarified goals, adapted to changing circumstances, and delivered results. Ambiguity is a constant in tech, and Google values candidates who can navigate it confidently. Intellectual humility is a key pillar of Googleyness. Prepare stories that show how you valued feedback, learned from mistakes, and improved your performance. Google wants candidates who are open to constructive criticism and willing to grow. Demonstrate your ability to listen, reflect, and act on feedback. Google values candidates who challenge the status quo and take initiative to fix broken systems. Prepare stories where you identified problems, proposed solutions, and drove change. Show how you questioned assumptions, improved processes, and made a positive impact. Initiative and innovation are highly prized at Google. Putting the user above short-term business goals is a core value at Google. Prepare stories that show how you prioritized user needs, made ethical decisions, and advocated for long-term solutions. Google wants candidates who do the right thing, even when it's difficult. Demonstrate your commitment to user-centric thinking. System design interviews, Google expects you to defend your trade-offs ruthlessly. If you choose a NoSQL database, explain how you'll handle eventual consistency for millions of users. Discuss the pros and cons of different architectures and justify your decisions with clear reasoning. Trade-off analysis is a critical skill for system design success. Google's system design round requires deep knowledge of distributed systems. Study concepts like MapReduce, Spanner, Bigtable, database sharding, consistency models, and consensus algorithms. Understand how Google builds infrastructure at scale and be ready to discuss these topics in detail. Reading Google's white papers can give you a significant advantage. Use platforms like NeetCode and Byte.Go to practice coding and system design patterns. These resources offer real interview questions and help you build the skills needed for Google's rigorous process. Practice regularly and track your progress to ensure you're ready for the interview loop. Practice behavioral questions using recorders or AI interviewers. Simulate real interview conditions and refine your answers using the STYLE framework. Regular practice helps you articulate your stories clearly and confidently. Behavioral preparation is just as important as technical practice. Approach Google's interview process with the right mindset. It's a marathon designed to test your endurance and adaptability. Stay positive, persistent, and proactive. Respect the process, learn from setbacks, and keep improving. With determination and preparation, you can beat the loop and land your dream job. Avoid common pitfalls in Google interviews. Don't stay silent during coding rounds. Communicate your thought process. Don't rely on memorized answers. Focus on understanding concepts. Don't neglect behavioral preparation. Googleyness is critical. Learn from Emily's experience and avoid freezing under pressure. Preparation and communication are your best tools. Google interviewers value optimized solutions. Start with a brute force approach if needed, but aim to improve your solution with the interviewer's help. Discuss space and time complexity and explain your optimization strategy. Showing your ability to iterate and refine solutions demonstrates strong problem-solving skills. Rejection is part of the process. Emily's story shows that even strong candidates can fail initially. Learn from your mistakes, seek feedback, and keep improving. Google's process is tough, but perseverance and growth are rewarded. Don't let setbacks discourage you. Use them as motivation to prepare better. As you wrap up your Google interview journey, remember that the process is designed to be challenging. Respect the marathon, learn the core algorithmic patterns, and prepare your behavioral stories. With focused preparation and the right mindset, Google's interview loop is beatable. Stay persistent and keep aiming for your dream role. Part 5 of the series will take on Amazon. Get ready to memorize 16 leadership principles and learn why customer obsession dictates everything they do. The Amazon interview process is unique and will provide genuine, actionable help to prepare you for success. Stay tuned for the next installment. Emily's mission is to help software engineers land high-paying roles by sharing tips, tricks, and actionable steps to nail interviews in 2026. Her experience and insights provide valuable guidance for anyone preparing for FAANG interviews. Follow her journey and learn from her successes and failures. This FAANG interview series covers every major company, providing a master roadmap for cracking interviews in 2026. From Netflix's Keeper test to Meta's sliding window pattern and now Google's rigorous process, each installment offers unique strategies and insights. Stay engaged and keep learning as we move through the series. What's holding you back from applying to Google? Is it the complexity of DP algorithms or the scale of system design? Identify your fears and address them through targeted preparation. Google's process is tough, but with the right approach, you can overcome any obstacle. Take the first step and start preparing today. Google's interview loop is challenging, but it's entirely beatable with respect for the process, focused preparation, and perseverance. Remember Emily's journey and use these strategies to guide your own. Stay motivated, keep learning, and aim for your dream role. See you in the next part of the series.